Hi everyone, in today's video we are going to test two microscopes and we are going to see if this microscope can hold up against this beast. Stay tuned to see how it performs. Hi everyone, welcome to the video. Now, quite often when I'm talking to people about managing their soil health, including using the natural processes, things like bacteria and fungi that I talk about in my other videos, often the grower wants to know if they can analyse their soil themselves, and the answer is yes. There are various ways to do that. One of the most popular ways when you are analysing soil life is to use a microscope, and this lets you visually quantify the concentrations of bacteria and fungi. But the question is always the same: what specification, how much do I need to spend on a microscope? So in this video I have pulled out not quite a toy microscope. This is actually my son's. I would consider it an entry-level microscope. It's certainly not going to break the bank. It's quite simple, but it has the components and is kind of geared around the manner in working which we would do for soil. I'm going to test this and see how it stacks up against a microscope that costs several £1000s. Now, the key features of these microscopes are that they are bottom illuminated, and this enables the light to shine up through the stage here, through this lens into the objective, and then ultimately through the eyepiece. So you can prepare a sample, which we'll do in a minute, and shine the light through it, and then you can see everything that's in it. And this microscope, it has a single eyepiece, has the stage and enables us to focus and move it in and out, has the objectives. It also has a light on the bottom as well. So let's get this one cleaned up first, and then we'll prepare a slide and see what they look like. Now, we've just given that a clean, which is always a good idea if you either regularly use your microscope or have to keep it stored without a cover over the top. Always good to clean the parts, especially the lenses, with alcohol-free wipes if you can, just to clear up surfaces and have the best possible view of your sample. But let's now prepare a simple slide. We're just going to do one for this. We'll get the soil sample ready. The sample that I'm about to use, I know has lots of fungi in it already, so there should be a lot to see. But hey, we're working with living organisms. Things don't always turn out as you want, but let's see. We'll start preparing that sample now. Okay, right, just to talk you through what I am doing. I have my wonderful soil sample here. I'm not overly concerned about picking the best kind of most representative sample for this. We're just doing this for demonstration purposes, but what I will do is pick some soil from different positions within the bag. I'm putting that into a test tube, which I realised I wasn't showing you. So put a bit of soil in here, like so. Nothing we need there. There's lots of lovely roots in here as well, which is probably why the sample itself had fantastic amounts of fungi in it. Now we have done that, I'll just pick the lid up and turn you so you can see the tap. We're just going to fill this with tap water, and what we're looking for is a 1 in 10 approximately dilution. So I'm going to fill this sample up to about where my thumb is. So we'll put the tap on slow. I won't go into whether you should use tap water or deionized water and all these sorts of things. We could save that for another time. Let's just put this down. You can see you're blinded by the lights, guys, so we'll shine it down onto the surface here and move the soil out the way. We will now put the lid on. We can see our 1 in 10 dilution, so we'll just gently shake this. While we're shaking that, I'm going to bring a slide out. Hopefully you can see this. And what we're looking to do is just to free up the organisms within the test tube, like so. Now you can take a little bit longer doing this yourself if you're preparing a sample. I think this is the first time I've actually recorded it and done this in real time, so it's actually going quite well so far. That's looking pretty good. You see all the particles now whizzing around in there. The water looks quite muddy. We will get our pipette like this. Apologies for the noises in the background. It's quite a busy industrial complex we're in. What we're going to do is, while that's all shook up, we will put the pipette in, take a sample, and we're just going to put 1-2 drops on the middle there, and that is literally all we need, and this test tube is done. So this is why it's always so important to pick as representative a sample as possible. Now the next thing we want is a cover slip. So carefully open. These things are so thin, and we will just, this is actually a broken cover slip, that's fine. Drop that on the top like that, and that is our sample done. Okay, so now we have our sample prepared. We are going to put it under the microscope, one of these guys. I'm not quite sure which one to do first. Perhaps I should show you the kind of more grand microscope. So I'll just get that ready and then I will show you what that looks like. So the exciting thing is, having put this slide under the big microscope, there is lots going on in the sample, so there should be plenty to see. But let me stop talking about it and show you what I'm looking at. Okay, so I have done a couple of still pictures. You could see that there is lots of fungi in this sample, scattered all around, very short sections, but you can see the lightish kind of brown hue, showing that there's lots of juvenile fungi kind of emerging and growing through this, and that's quite typical. I mentioned when I was picking the sample that there were lots of roots in it, but the other point to note is that on this camera, on the microscope setup, I'm actually using a 10 times objective with a 10 times eyepiece, and that means that I have 100 times magnification. That's really important. I could go higher and have more impressive close-ups, but we're trying to do a comparison between the kind of entry microscope and this one. So we need to try and align the magnifications to be as similar as possible. So now I will put the sample on to the basic microscope and show you a picture of that. So here it is, all clipped in and ready to go. Let's have a look. Well, there we go. I must say I'm actually a little bit surprised. My son's had this microscope for a while. I haven't really looked at soil properly through it before, so this is as new to me as it is to you guys. Yeah, I'm particularly impressed by the fact that it shows up the colours quite well of the soil particles, especially the organic matter. It is very difficult to focus though. The kind of notching on the focus wheels is, it's got too much play in it, and it makes it incredibly difficult to get it sharp and to stay sharp. So that's a little bit disappointing. I think that will probably make it very hard to do a meaningful analysis yourselves. But you can see plenty of things going on in that slide. I couldn't see any fungi, if I'm honest, even though I tried to match it as closely as possible to the big microscope where I could see all those short kind of fragments. I think there is some kind of discrepancy between the eyepiece and the field of view and the magnification, which makes it very hard to do. But overall, really not a bad job for something which costs a few tens of pounds, or $20 or so, something like that, compared to something which costs a few thousand. That said, we're kind of comparing chalk with cheese a little bit here. One is professional grade kind of lab equipment used to provide analytical services for people, and one is designed just to kind of pique curiosity. And so that's kind of how I would summarize this video, kind of leave as my closing is, can you meaningfully analyze soil with a microscope like this? I think we kind of probably knew the answer before I started. It was always a tough ask. However, could you use it to help kind of grow curiosity either in yourself or young children or even other people? The answer, I think, is a resounding yes. For a few pounds, a few extra little bits of equipment like the slides, in fact I think those slides actually come with this microscope, you can have an activity that's quite a bit of fun and use that to inspire you to do more with your soil. So there we go guys, that wraps this video up. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like below, that would be great. And if you like this video and like to see kind of me do more behind the scenes looking at the equipment I use, or if you like videos that teach you how to maximize your soil, get the benefit of the life that it contains to grow healthier, tastier food without the use of chemicals, then do consider subscribing to the channel. But that's it for now. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.